Welcome to the Paws Perspective,
the podcast where we help dog owners feel calmer, clearer and more confident by understanding what's really going on behind their dog's behaviour.
We're Pat and Molly from Flying Paws Dog Training, and each episode we break down behaviour, training and real life challenges in a way that actually makes sense.
From puppies and adolescents, breed traits and everyday training struggles, we focus on working with your dog's instincts, not against them.
Whether you're trying to prevent problems before they start, or you're feeling stuck and not sure what to do next,
you're in the right place.
So grab a coffee, clip on the lead,
and let's get into today's episode.
We've got a very special bonus episode today with a really lovely lady. Who is it, Molly?
It is Kerry from Puppy Tales Pet Photography.
But guess what? We're not talking about photos.
Not this time. We might get Kerry back later to talk about photos. There's lots of things we can talk to Kerry about.
She does a lot of things, but what are we talking about for this episode?
Well, Kerry has become big in the photography world by travelling around.
Right round Australia.
Yep. We were fortunate enough to have photos with her with our three last year.
And yeah, it was great.
And a lot of the professional photos you see of the boys we use now are Kerry's.
Does a great job.
So obviously to do that and to photograph all these amazing dogs in these amazing parts of Australia, she has to toot around.
And she likes dogs too because she takes photos of them, so she's got her own.
Yes, she's had, she travelled with her older two who are no longer with her, Summer and Kiko, and now has just welcomed Scout into the family. You might hear Scout throughout the episode, I think. But yeah.
She gives you some great advice on travelling with dogs of all ages, what you can do, where you can go.
Yeah, whether you want to do a big trip or a little trip, there'll be something in there for you.
Yeah, a lot of good advice.
Hi, Kerry. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's lovely to be chatting with you guys.
Yeah, good to catch up. You're on the road at the moment?
We are, yes. We're in Streaky Bay, South Australia, for anyone that knows where that beautiful part of the world is.
Is it warm?
No, it's windy. Today and yesterday. I mean, it's coastal, so it's always a bit windy, but the last 2 days have been a bit full on, which when you work on the road, it's sort of good to have that, okay, today's a caravan day, and then when it's nicer weather, you can go out and enjoy being outside a little bit guilt-free.
Yeah, sounds fair. Maybe we should start with, what does Kerry actually do? Who are you?
Yeah, do you want to tell us about Puppy Tales? Sure. So I'm a dog photographer, so I've done that, 16 years now, so just rolled over. Started out based in Melbourne, studio, doing location shoots there, and then we welcomed, around the same time I started doing that, a little fluffy white puppy, Kiko. He was a Japanese Spitz, and we started traveling locally because we wanted to do fun, beautiful things with him. So it sort of evolved from there that we now spend a lot of time on the road, some years more than others, and travel around, photos of dogs in the places that we go, but also experience it with our own dogs. It's really lovely. Australia is a gorgeous country, lots of beautiful scenery, and it is really special to be able to go out with your dog and see that. I feel like you give them their best life too, and it increases your own enjoyment of life by being able to do it with them.
Have you been to every state and territory?
Yes. And the dogs, our previous dogs, had been underground, in planes. We had like this sort of fun bucket list, and I don't think underground actually made it onto the bucket list, but when we were up in Broken Hill, there was a mine, and we just ask, if we want to do something, we'll reach out and say, can you take dogs? And sometimes you get a no, but sometimes I'll be like, don't see why not, or sure. Kiko didn't come on that one with us. It wasn't something we thought he would enjoy, but Summer, she was fine. She went underground and, a bit different for her. So it's some novelty things that you can do with them that you wouldn't ever imagine. And sometimes it's a matter of asking, and you often get, sure, I'd prefer to take your dog than children. So
obviously you've travelled with your older two, and now you've just welcomed Scout. How long have you had Scout now?
2 months, give or take. Yeah, each has its challenges. Kiko was 14, nearly 15 when we lost him. So travelling with a very senior dog, you have to be very adaptable to what they need. Huge advocates for a stroller so that he could come and be with us and do everything, even though the longer walks got a bit beyond him by that age. A couple of knee reconstructions. So, he couldn't do big walks, but he could still be with us and he loved it. And then, so traveling with the seniors, that had its own sort of special needs and requirements. And then a puppy, a whole different ball game. But funnily enough, the stroller proved very, very handy because then he could be out. You've got a lot of concerns around vaccinations and things like that when you've got a new puppy. And we hadn't sort of fully thought that through when we decided to get him, and then had a panic so much that I was like, maybe we shouldn't do this. And then we decided to figure out how we could do it. So the stroller came back out. We even bought turf to lay on the caravan site so that he had his own patch that he could wee on for those first weeks, which actually sort of proved ingenious from a toilet training perspective because he kind of just associated that with where he would go. So we might actually, even if we don't need to, look at that if different circumstances for a future puppy. So a lot of considerations with a puppy and travelling, and same with seniors. So it's been a bit of a ride and a bit of a how do we approach that? How do we do that given the constraints of not having a backyard or not having our own space? Or socialisation in some respects was a lot easier because he was always out and about and there's a lot and we're walking and he's in his stroller. So noises and things like that I think he's heard a lot of. But socialisation or interactions with other dogs is more limited because you don't have friends that you can that their dogs and feel like they're a good dog to have around my dog. They'll be calm and kind of create the interaction that you want. So there's been a few people that were like, their dogs look kind of good. Can we do a meet and greet? But it's much more limited. So we're trying really hard to work in that. And you sort of have to think about what or how you can approach it or problem solve that when you're on the road with a puppy.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's just been brought straight into caravan life, hasn't he? Has he been home yet?
No. So he's 4 months old. He started life in Queensland, joined us in Perth, and now he's in South Australia.
How old was he when you started in the caravan with him?
He came across at 8 weeks.
8
So,
weeks.
yeah, had a massive trip. And we had to drive in to pick him up. We were down at Margaret River, and so we had to drive up to Perth to pick him up. And even that's concerning because you know how many dogs travel on planes, but then there's always a story of one being left on a tarmac or something that on the day, that's what you're thinking, like you're so anxious about it. But I mean, it's just very nerve-wracking. So, yeah, but I don't know. It's like, so Kiko did his cruise ship on our first big trip around Australia. And at the time, you're like, do we need to go home? Like, how are we going to manage it? But sometimes the confined space of a caravan is actually really good because you can keep eyes on.
Yeah.
They're not disappearing into a back room and suddenly you're like, it's been really quiet. I know they're up to no good. And so with Kiko, you could monitor that he wasn't jumping up on anything or doing anything he should have. With a puppy, like he's right there. So when he indicates he needs to go to the loo or things like that, a lot of it seems a little bit easier, I guess, in some respects.
Yeah. What do you think the biggest mindset shift is for someone traveling with a dog versus having it at home?
You don't have to, but I think the success of it is realizing that it's their adventure too. Or you can't have a dog and take them traveling with you purely to save money or because the logistics are easy. That's not fair on the dog. So you're going to have to make compromises to have a dog with you, the same that you might have to make for children. You might not necessarily love the idea of going to theme parks, but that's what your kid wants to do. So you're going to be doing that for them, for their enjoyment. People traveling with a dog, it might be that you can't go to that national park or that area isn't the best idea at that time of year because there's so many restrictions, for example, over summer. But there's ways to work around pretty much all of that too. So, Sam and I will split up and he'll go to a national park on one day or I'll book onto a tour and he'll stay at home with Scout. And that's fine, I guess, because we're working on the road. We always have to have some downtime in the caravan. It's not like you're constantly on the go for us. What I realised when we lost Summer and Kiko, a lot of people talk about leaving dogs at home. Should I take dogs? absolutely wasn't the same for us without them, been on the road without them. Would much rather have had those experiences with them than visited every national park in Australia. Like, it just, the realization was that we'd had such amazing times with them. I wouldn't have changed a thing. And there's a way to get to national parks, or you just wait, or sometimes it's even a blessing because everybody's over here at that special spot and you go to a slightly different beach that no one's heard of, or a different park, and it's you're meeting locals, or you have it to yourself because everyone's going to that tourist attraction that's marketed for. So yeah, and we thought about whether we get a new puppy or we wait, because we could do some national parks and they were beautiful. We had some good times, but it still for us wasn't as good as sharing it. It wasn't as good as having a dog that was part of the adventure. So we're back there.
What sort of skills or habits make it easier to travel with your dog, whatever age they're in?
So they have to be a little bit resilient, I think. We talk a lot about dogs and routines, and I know how important they are. But when you're on the road, there can be things that don't go according to plan, or a routine can be quite tricky to maintain. I even just, you change time zones and they have to adapt. So
Yeah.
they either want meals earlier or later, or their sleep patterns are out. So you want to teach them a little bit of resilience or robustness into being adaptable to changes.
Which is such a hard skill for
It
dogs.
can be, but sometimes it's just making little changes as you go, breaking routines. And it can even be, I suppose, like some of the enrichment activities, like if you scatter feed or things like that, that is changing a routine that, if they've always been fed in a bowl. So it's
Yeah.
probably not a skill that, you go out and teach for that. It's in teaching for other things that has that effect, I suppose.
Yeah.
Think all your basic obedience training becomes really fundamental. You don't want the dog that's barking excessively. You don't want a dog that lacks sort of general adaptability and socialization with other people and dogs and children. You can manage it. I mean, Summer had reactivity to certain dogs, and we could certainly manage that on the road, but it's the basics. So if you want to be able to go to a cafe and enjoy it, they have to be happy to sit there and chill. If you want to be able to let them off lead somewhere amazing, then you need to have them have recall and things like that. So all those basic obedience really makes life on the road easier. That said, I mean, we've obviously got a puppy who lacks all of those things at the moment. It's responsible parenting that you're aware of your dogs, any limitations they might have, and you're advocating for them in the world. So if you don't want a dog to approach, then you're telling that person, or you're going to a place where you're reducing the likelihood of something like that happening for them.
Yeah. Do you crate is Scout crated in the caravan, or is he? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Really interesting, because we thought it was going to be under the table, and we got one, and it does just fit, but he's going to outgrow that possibly before we get home. We may upgrade to a metal one, but then it's tricky to move around the van. So that's one of the things to think about. But we're advocates for crate training because of traveling, but also I think it makes life less stressful if they do need to go to a vet, to a care, if any emergency sort of arises. Kiko wasn't crate trained, but he actually took fine. Summer was. Beyond a point, they weren't put in their crate anymore. That wasn't our style. They slept on the bed. But I think making them comfortable is beneficial in that space. But it's also so good, for Scout, because he wants to go. We've got a cat as well. So if the cat's out and about, he wants to chase the cat. Whereas in his crate, it kind of gives him the space to relax and have a snooze that he actually really, really needs. So it is good from that perspective, I think. Like, I'm not a trainer. It's just what's worked for us and is beneficial for them. And it just gives him, I guess, his own space, and he kind of can go into there and feel relaxed and, I guess, switch off and have a snooze.
Yeah. I think as well, I suppose for dogs that may have never travelled before, if they've already got an understanding of a crate, it gives them a safe space straight in there, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And there's a lot of places that like that may be involved in travel, like going on the Spirit of Tasmania. You can opt to put them in crates. If you want them to do any sort of plane travel, they're going in a crate. Vets, if there's any emergency, then they're crated there. And I feel like you're just setting them up such that you're taking stress out of those situations that they might encounter down the track. And if you think of going to the vet, they're not going because they're well, happy dogs, or sometimes they are, they're just having a teeth clean or whatever. But sometimes there's a lot going on and you don't want to build more anxiety or stress into that situation.
Yep, definitely. What are your top tips for traveling, like actually moving in the caravan? Like, where's Scout and where was Summer and Kiko when it's actually moving?
Or definitely in the car.
Yeah.
Seatbelts, harnesses, the works.
Yeah.
I don't advocate at all for dogs being in anything unrestrained. It's just, it's not safe for them, same as us. One, they need to be restrained in the event of an accident for their own safety, but also to eliminate distractions and things like that for drivers. That's just the reality, I think, and law in a few states. So the other
Yes.
side of it is you can be fined for having dogs unrestrained in different states. Like the legislation or the laws vary a little bit. I'm not on top of what they are for every state because we just do it as a best practice, I think. But yeah, you don't want to ruin your day to have an accident or to get a fine.
What's the difference with travelling with pups, adult dogs and senior dogs? What difference have you found that you have to take into consideration travelling with the different ages?
So puppies need a lot of downtime when they're young. So even to the stake of our walks are shorter, our time out of the van is shorter. So you can't plan big days of, we're going to go here and here and here, because that's way too much for him. And even in the stroller, like technically he could sleep if he was tired and we're out and about. We found he doesn't. Like he's like, oh, look at that, look at that. So you have to have a routine, but also part of that routine is figuring out how much sleep they're going to get. We actually realised we were overstimulating him at one point, like he was being a bit naughty, and then we were sort of thinking it through and we're like, we probably just need to give him more sleep. And it wasn't that he was being active because he was in the stroller. We were doing the 5 minutes per month of age or something. Yeah, I think that's the calculation for how much activity they need. So he wasn't having too much activity, but he was having too much where he was awake and alert and that. So we edged back with that. Seniors, I guess ailments start to creep in. So you have to be mindful of that. And again, Kiko, he was very fit and great up to about 13 and a half. Like he was still walking 5, 10 Ks, no dramas. And then it slowed down a bit. So again, it being adaptable to what they can and can't do. He loved his stroller. Like he was so happy out and about in that. So I guess there's an element of, again, the crate training probably helps later on if they do need to be in a stroller. They're not missing anything. It's a fun experience for them. So seniors, also your medications and things like that. So you have to have a good relationship with your vet, one care team, so that you can get what you need. And sometimes you might need to take an extra supply of something. If you're going somewhere remotely, you might not be able to get it. You have to call and say, have you got this? Or figure out how they can ship it to you.
How did you manage the vet side of things on the road? Like obviously you would have had a vet in Melbourne, but obviously if you're somewhere else and then there's an emergency, or how do you manage that? Do you just contact the closest one? Or?
Fortunate because I meet a lot of people traveling around. I can ask for referrals. So with Summer, she got cancer and we were in Tassie. I actually take a step back. We'd done vet checks. Every time we kind of go through home, we do a vet check with our vet, just, make sure everything was done. She had turned 10, so we even crept into the senior vet check. So she had a blood test and everything. Everything looked good. There was no indicators. So it really swiped us that she was actually so sick. I'd photographed there, so I actually talked to the person who I photographed. Happened to be a vet nurse, so she was connected and was like, this is a good vet to go to. The only problem that we have, a lot of vets are overburdened as it is. So once in Tassie, the emergency vet care was excellent, trying to get regular vet care a lot wouldn't take on new clients, even when we were like, we're not going to be a new client. We just desperately need ABC. So that was tricky. We hadn't encountered that. Actually, we had a cat that we needed a vet care situation in Dalesford, and they weren't taking on new clients as well. So it can be a little bit tricky, I guess. Forward planning, like if you know you're going to need routine care, you can call around or you can say, all right, we can't get it in this area. We'll go here or we'll go before then, before something's due. Emergency, it's tricky, it's tough. Yeah, unexpected. And I mean, you've got on top of that a lot of emotion and heartbreak when you discover it's not good news. Been very fortunate. Like vets do an exceptional job in tough circumstances as well. So we've been fortunate that a lot of vets we've had have been truly amazing. I guess that just shows there's a lot of really good vets out there doing the best that they can.
How can you make travel enjoyable and enriching for your dog?
I think it is inherently enriched, like new places, new smells. It's probably that daily walk. It's great for them, but it's also great for us. If you don't see nearly as much any other way except by getting out and walking it. You're there, you see stuff. So I feel like that daily walk is so good for them. You get to, even sometimes, like, you might not want to take your dog out to the toilet in the middle of the night, but then you do, and you'll be somewhere and you've got the whole sky that you just didn't even realize how clear it was. Or you pop out, like once Sam took them out and the aurora was happening. I was devastated because I was in bed already. And I kind of missed it. But, you're finding such amazing things. And I guess we're excited by it. And I feel like for them, their nose or being out there, they're getting that as well. There's some really fun things you can do too. Like most dogs love the beach. The snow is really, really fun. That's got the textures and I feel like what they enjoy about the beach, they get at the snow, but in a cooler format. And I think they love just being with us and being included. So for them, that being around their people, they're getting so much more people time than they would like on a normal working day, or, even if you're not traveling long term like we do, that holiday where you take them with you, they're loving it because they're getting a lot more quality time with you and attention. We do the snow dogs, which is people come from around the country for it now. And people have said to us, a dog moped for the week after the snow, or their dog looked back, wistfully as they drove off. Now we're putting human emotions on it. But I think what you're seeing is they've gone from having undivided attention in an environment that's really enriching or invigorating and different, and then they go back to the normal 9 to 5 where mum and dad disappears or life's busy. And so I feel like it's a blessing for us that we get to be on the road and travel and share most days with them, although we do work. Yeah, so I think it's inherently built in with enrichment for them, to answer your question.
Awesome.
What tips have you got, if any, of like capturing memories on the road without stressing the dog out?
I'm probably the worst. I mean, Summer loved posing. She was the border collie nature, so she would be like at home, if I set up the studio, she would be there because she would know at the end of setting it up, I would want a dog to do test shots with. And so she'd be like, ready, just tag me in, like I'm so good. Kigo would come in and be like, okay, now where's my treat? Like I've done my job. Admittedly, he got photographed for a very long time. So I feel like it is the same approach when it's a photography session. You're trying to make it fun for the dog, or as I will often say, it'll be like one for me and then something fun for you. So it's not sort of boring and repetitious. It will be, we'll do something and then you get to go and sniff the tree, or we're going to break it up. Because sometimes you still that amazing memory or moment or thing. And it's still good to teach them to sit and wait, whether it's for a photo or anything else. Like they're good, handy life skills. So I think it comes down to some of that training to get good moments or memories together. So if they know sit, wait, drop, anything like that, it's good for photos, but it's also good in a lot of other scenarios. And the time of day is really important as well. And I mean, we love our sunrises and sunsets, so that's also a beautiful time to be out photographing. Depending when they line up, sometimes they're really quiet too, because people might be, like if it's really early, people aren't up. If sunset overlines with dinner, then they're back having meals, and so you actually get that space quieter or to yourself, and that's really nice. It's quite amazing sometimes to feel like you are the only person somewhere witnessing this, or like, how can I be the only ones here right now seeing this magic of like my dog doing something fabulous and the sun setting or whatever. And you're like, it's a pretty amazing feeling, because I think day to day you're surrounded by people and activity and things like that. So when you get to find that spot where it's just you, you're like, this is so good. How good's life?
Yeah.
What's one piece of advice for first-time dog travellers?
I think start small. Don't jump in and think, oh, we're going to do the caravan travel and we're going to invest in all of this, and then discover your dog doesn't like it. So you could be going on a trip, staying in an Airbnb. It could be camping in your backyard, things like that. See if they are well suited to it. Introduce it more slowly if you're concerned. I don't think we actually did any of that. We just started with small trips and it went well. Basic obedience training. I sort of said that a few times. You do need to think about what you will need to make the travel safe for them. So if you're going into hot environments, then a cooling vest might be good. How are you going to keep them cool? For us, we've got aircon. We will stay in a caravan park this time of year in case we need to use the aircon and keep them safe. You can have a 46-degree day, and I feel like, especially with a puppy or an older dog, that can turn into a health risk for them if you don't manage it well. So being aware of the limitations imposed by pet travel and making sure you have a plan around that, being adaptable, being realistic, making it fun for them, and by default that makes it fun for you as well. You don't want to change their food, so make sure you have enough food for however long you're on the road, because a dog with diarrhea or an upset tummy is going to make the whole experience a bit less pleasant. Don't assume you can get whatever. I mean, it's actually not as hard as it was when we first started traveling. Like, you can get an Australian post box kind of anywhere and have stuff delivered, but you need to forward plan that if it's long-term travels. But if it's a short-term travel, take more than the food you think you'll need. You don't want to run out. Take poo bags. Have a supply of poo bags. So sort of thinking through the logistics and what you might need and making sure that you've got it. That's not to say that you need to go and buy everything. You don't want to carry too much stuff. You don't want to buy stuff that you're not going to need. But you do, I guess, think through the scenarios of where you're going, the time of the year, what they will need. I've mentioned the snow. Some dogs are 100% going to need a jacket to be comfortable up there. But that said, you don't need the booties and everything else depending on your dog. So, yeah.
Awesome. Great
Yeah,
tips there.
there is. There's
Yeah.
a lot. Is there anything you think we've missed you want to touch on? Yeah, I think probably something you touched on just then, which is probably like a good spot to mention it, is if you go into anything where someone else has to be, is just to clean up after them. Like, it's really just a courtesy thing anywhere, but it seems to be one of those things that we've stayed at so many places, haven't we? And you get
Yeah.
there and there's like dog
Dog
poo
poo.
in the backyard, and I'm sure you've been in caravan parks and there's, it's been left there, but yeah, it's not nice.
Yeah, and the other thing that happens is places will become undog friendly. So
Yeah,
whether
exactly.
that's because people have been and done the wrong thing, or dogs. We had a favourite place that we loved and we'd been there with both dogs. No incidents with us, but we went to book a few years down the track and they're like, sorry, you can only take one dog. And we're like, oh, but we've been there. And they'd had an incident where I don't know, more than one dog had sort of attacked their dog. And so they thought it was safer to restrict it because I guess you haven't got pack mentality kicking in a bit, like it's theirs. And that was really disappointing. So to us, because we had enjoyed our stay there, and we can't go, we're not going to leave one dog at home in order to do that. So we had to stay somewhere else. I always sort of suggest that our dogs are ambassador dogs. Like, when we're out and about, we want to leave somewhere where they're thinking it was great. Like, they were beautiful guests. They did a really nice job. So we will clean up after ourselves when we stay, to the extent, not in the van, although we do have the vacuum cleaner in the van, vacuum cleaner with us, because sometimes you check into places. Both Kigo and Summer were fluffy. We were leaving fluff behind. And even though we could try and clean up with their vacuum cleaner, if it's not a good one, which can happen. They put the cheap one that they're done with at home. So we've taken a vacuum cleaner so that we can clean up our mess. We will take our own sheets, not that they're necessarily going to sleep on the bed, but because they were hairy, it would be on us and then in the bed. So things like that. I think you can be welcome guests, and that encourages them to maintain being dog friendly or not, because once you've been somewhere amazing, it is actually sad when you read that they've changed their policy because people are not doing the right thing.
Yeah, definitely.
And I do think, unfortunately, dogs do get held to a higher standard than, say, children or humans doing the wrong thing. They can't really ban children, although some places are now adult-only caravan parks and campgrounds. But it's not as widely accepted that you would do that. But to ban dogs, they can still do it. And unfortunately, people can be a little bit entitled, I suppose, or a little bit, that rule doesn't apply to me.
Yes.
Why not? Why not? Because that rule, even though it's a rule, it's there to just make it harmonious for everyone, keep everyone safe, or keep small children safe from dogs. So we do want to really put our best foot forward and maintain the beautiful places that we can go and stay. I think there's more and more spots opening up, more and more hotels you can go at, like 5-star hotels that are amazing, but it probably doesn't take much.
Yeah.
One significant incident or a whole lot of little ones that after time they just think we don't want to do that anymore. Yeah. So I think we do need to, unfortunately, have a higher standard of behaviour for our dogs than maybe those travelling with children, or just some adults, their behaviour can be terrible.
I think it's not that hard now in this day and age to check ahead and check what's on lead in an area, what's off lead in an area, what times of day it might be, to again just be courteous before councils start going, no dogs can go here, or those sorts of things. Yeah.
And if you can't, I think the assumption should be that it is an on lead area, not well, I can't determine, so I'll just let my dog off.
Yeah.
Actually, especially when you're traveling, you don't know if there's wildlife. You don't know if there's amazing penguins in Tassie, and you can literally stay in. No, it's not penguins. Stanley. On the beach, like in a caravan that's back from the beach, and you've got penguins right there.
Yeah.
If you're visiting, maybe you know about the penguins, or maybe you stumble on it, but you don't want your dog to be responsible for actually harming wildlife. Not only that, some wildlife can really harm your dog, like kangaroos can be vicious. And if your dogs chase them, the kangaroo is only acting in its own self-interest. So unfortunately, I think the kangaroo's in the right if your dog's gone and chased them. But it's for their safety sometimes to presume that you need to keep your dog on lead unless you've checked what's around, checked what the regulations are. I've not come across a caravan park that says your dog can be off lead, but there's a lot of people, it's fine. It's just here. It's just in our area. And you're sort of like, it is. And your dog might be perfect.
Yeah.
But 3 other dogs might not be. See your dog off lead and think, well, if they can do it, why can't I? Like, why are they special? So, yeah. And it's not. Look, it's the reality of having dogs, isn't it? We're adapting them to fit within a human lifestyle. And so being on lead, that's the expectation of a lot of people.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Awesome. A lot of good tips there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really helpful.
Before we finish, that you do have the Australian Dog of the Year voting open.
Probably the Australian Dog of the Year is just some really amazing dogs that we hold an award and people nominate their dogs, and we're at the stage where we have finalists and we have the People's Choice voting in that, so people can vote on who's their favourite dog. It is really hard. They are beautiful, amazing dogs, and they do such great things for people and communities and things like that. It's really
Some of the
heartwarming.
stories this year are amazing.
I know, and it's so hard to pick finalists, and then even because we've got a judging panel and there's not a consistent dog that's like this one, and so I'm like, it just goes to show the breadth of the depth of the dogs and the really cool things that they're doing. But it's also like, it's still not that much easier. Like, it's not like if there is a clear sort of dog in the rescue category this year, but Yeah, the other ones not so much. It is lovely because people will have their favourites and can chime in, and they're all. I mean, it's really hard because you sort of want to award about twice as many awards as you've got because you're like, I don't want to leave that one out, and oh, but this one's good. So at least having a judging panel that's external, it's less I don't want to say responsibility. That's the wrong word. It's pressure for me, but yeah, for puppy tails people, because it's never been just me, but it was more of an internal judging panel and different people involved. It's lovely to have amazing people chiming in, and yeah,
Good to see who comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you voted? Do you have a favourite?
Yes, I did like I can't remember what his name was, but the Kelpie that the girl who got pinned by the cow and the Kelpie
Cow.
one. Yeah, that's amazing. Such a young
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah.
Do you?
And it's even hard because you're comparing like a dog who might have done a one-off thing versus a dog who's done 10 years of going into hospitals or nursing homes versus a dog that literally saves someone's life,
Yeah.
like
Well,
as
there's
a seizure alert dog. And it's hard to
and
pick.
there's the dog that's in the Ronald McDonald house, like with the kids. Like, yeah,
Yeah, Gus.
do you have a favourite?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the Aussie. There's an Aussie Shepherd in there, wasn't there?
What's there?
I think so. Yeah, an Aussie. I know. Yeah, I voted a while back. I can't
Did
remember.
I think there's a couple of borders, and there's as we were talking about with Scout, there's a red border. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it was a longer hair. It wasn't there was a short haired border and a longer one. I got the longer coat, but I can't remember whether it was an Aussie or whether it was a border now.
Yeah.
I have to go back, but yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, some awesome stories there.
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, awesome. Alrighty, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for chatting, and I hope people can take the tips and the advice and get out and have more amazing times with their dogs. The time we have with them is too short, and the more you do, I think the more you feel like you've given them their best life.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that go away caravanning with their dogs. Yeah, be great tips there,
Yeah.
especially on the mainland. A lot of people go over here, don't they?
Yeah.
Go to the mainland for winter, where it's a bit warmer over there. So it'll give them some ideas on what to do when they're out and about with dogs at different ages. Awesome.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, that was our chat with Kerry, and wasn't it a good one?
It was really good. She's so nice.
Yeah, she is. She's really, really awesome. Great lady, and some really good tips on travelling different parts of Australia, what you could do, and also what age your dog is. Like, so she's got a pup now, but for older dogs, travelling around as well. So lots of things people can take away when they go on their holidays.
Yeah, and I think it's a really one of the things I took away, I suppose, from it was it's worth just ringing some of these places. You know, like we've
Yeah.
been to places and we probably haven't rung them beforehand, but we've checked when we've got there, like, oh, you know, we think the dogs are okay, but are they okay? But just calling ahead and saying, hey, you actually dog friendly, like the
Yep.
worst they're going to say is no.
That's exactly right. So just being considerate and just checking out, then you know. But yeah, really, people are going to take away heaps of stuff from what she's talked about.
Yes,
Really awesome.
and Kerry's hoping to get back to well, I think she is coming back
Yep,
to Tassie. I think
she's
we
booked.
found that out after we finished the chat. She's booked. So
Mhm.
if you want to have photos in you're in Tassie with Kerry,
Mhm.
keep an eye out later in the year. I'm
Yep.
sure she'll advertise, but follow her on Facebook and Instagram. She's always popping up where she is, and
Takes beautiful photos.
yeah, very beautiful photos.
Yeah. So hope you've enjoyed it.